Rajdeep Sardesai is joining us on this broadcast. Rajdeep, good morning. You know, we've all got smiles on our faces. We're all celebrating. Since 1980, Rajdeep, we haven't had a medal from our hockey team in the Olympics, and that shows us how historic a moment this is.
You know, Adita, I was 15. Akshita, I was 15 when 1980 happened. And remember, that was Moscow, where a number of the top teams boycotted. So there were those who said our medal lacked, in a sense, saliency. But today, we have won, and deservedly so. We came back from 3-1 down. We were under pressure at 5-4. There was that penalty corner with 6 seconds to go. All the agony, hurt and tears that my generation in a way has gone through from 1980 to 2021. I promise you, I switched off the TV with 6 seconds to go because I couldn't bear it anymore. I was, fearing the worst. I had seen it too many times in the past. But Srijesh with that save, and each and every one of these players to be on that podium is huge. I know it's not gold, but bronze is also big. It's a highly competitive sport. AstroTurf came in a way, diluted some of our strengths of the past, our dribbling skills. But the fact is that this generation has grown up and given us a sense of self-belief that we can do it. They've been consistently good, and to come back from 7-1 against Australia and then get a bronze medal, it's huge. Credit to Team India, to everyone associated with Hockey India, my friend Narendra Batra, the president of the IHF. Credit to Naveen Patnaik and Team Odisha, who sponsored this entire team, and credit to Sports Authority of India, and most of all, credit to those players. Remember, there will be lots today who will want to take credit. Just give credit to the players. They are the ones, and their coach, who have done it. I'm sorry I'm a little teary-eyed today because hockey brings that. It's the sport that brings the emotion of being an Indian. It's associated with our history, legacy, the great Dhyan Chand, Udham Singh, Balbir Singh. These names just flow out. Those who built Indian hockey from 1928, the great team of the 30s and the 40s who played sometimes barefoot and won us gold medals. But this team deserves the highest praise. This is an enormous achievement, needs to be put in context. Hopefully gold in Paris, this time a bronze. But I think the spirit that they showed is something that we should celebrate. And I think they deserve, when they come back, a real hero's welcome. I hope that there'll be, I know COVID times, but within COVID protocols, a welcome that's fit for hockey kings. And I really, this is a moment to savor. It's been a great 24 hours for Indian sport. Our men in white, the cricketers, have bowled out England. And of course, our sports person Vineet Fogart was fantastic this morning. We saw yesterday Ravi Kumar Daya. This has been the best 48 hours in a long time for Indian sport. Wonderful. And we still have hope of gold at 4:20 p.m. when Ravi has that final bout. But the hockey players, salute. No, thank you so much. That's all I can say. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Salam, salute you. Well done. Jai Hind.
You've got me emotional, Rajdeep. Your beautiful tribute there for our players. And Rajdeep, I'm sure every Indian right now is echoing the sentiment that you have also put out there. Very, very emotional. Yes, we're all celebrating, but it's such an emotional time also. And how much ever we celebrate these players, I feel we'll fall short because of the kind of resilience, the grit, the determination to win that they showed today, Rajdeep. That's what really took them through, because at one point we were at 1-3. We were down by 2 goals. From that to reach 5-4. And as you pointed out, those last 6 seconds, it looked like it could go any way. It was so scary. Despite that, they prevailed. And that really shows you why this team deserves all the recognition that we can perhaps give them.
Absolutely. In the past, Akshita, there's been a feeling that once India falls behind, we struggle. We don't know how to deal with big match pressure. And that's true. There have been occasions in the past when we faltered at that very last hurdle. And there were all the ghosts of the past that were returning with 6 seconds to go in that penalty corner. But I think this win, therefore, will give us a huge confidence going into the future. There are lots of young players who are emerging. We saw that spectacular goal by Hardik. We've seen Manpreet, Mandeep. these are, many of them are in their mid-20s. Therefore, they will be back in Paris in 3 years from now. Hopefully, even better players. I think you need moments like this to spur a sport forward. 83 did that to cricket in a way, took it to another level. I don't want to liken this to that because that was, of course, winning the tournament. This is a bronze, but this is important. It was important to be on the podium. It will give a lot of confidence to young boys and girls to play hockey. The women's hockey team, again, doing fantastically well. This is what sport does. It inspires another generation, and I hope not just Team Odisha. I hope many more corporates support hockey. We need many more AstroTurf grounds, and if we can have even a 10-year plan now in place, I believe we have the basic skills that are better than the Europeans. They may have the physique in the Germans and the Dutch and even the Australians and the Belgians, but we have the skills. India is the land of hockey. This is where it happened.
Yes.
In the cantonment towns, the British taught us the game, but we were better than them. And today we showed we were better than the Germans. We came back from 3-1, and we came back because we had better ball skills, we had the resilience and the spirit, and I think that's what has shone through. Yesterday, Ravi Kumar Dhaya 9-2 down, 1.58 seconds to go, comes back to win. That's the spirit. I think we now have the self-belief that we can win medals. This hockey team was different to the teams of the last 41 years because they believed they could be on the podium, and self-belief in sport is critical, and I think that's what made the big difference against a very good German side that was again desperate to win that medal. Winning a bronze is huge. People say, oh, bronze. Guys, when you are an Olympian, every medal matters. I spoke to PV Sindhu last night, and you'll see that interview today, and she said that. Her coach told her, PV, there's a big difference between being fourth and third, and we proved that. To have that medal around, they can keep it, tell those stories to their children, their grandchildren, and God hope their great-grandchildren, and I hope this is the start of a great new journey for Indian hockey. Gold in Paris is what we hope for, but either way, I'm walking tall. There's a friend of mine who lives in Australia. He used to be our school hockey goalkeeper. He sent me a message today, and I want to read out that message because it was lovely. From the depths of despair, 1-7 against Australia, 0-1 in the first minute, then 1-3 down, to come away with the bronze needs not just skill, but heart and desire and pride. Hail Graham Reed, Manpreet, Srijesh, and all those who ensured they never gave up, never gave in. Gratitude from 1 billion and more, and from all of us in the diaspora spread over the world. We stand taller today, walk straighter, and filled the belief that the gold is to come very soon. We are standing taller, feeling better about life, Akshita.
All we can say is Srijesh, Manpreet, Harmanpreet, Hardik, and every player part of the men's hockey team. Thank you for giving us this moment. Thank you for giving us this moment to celebrate, to recognize the sport of hockey. Rajdeep, I have been parts of many of these kind of broadcasts, and almost every single time it's been about some cricket match or the other. I can't remember the last time we ever celebrated hockey to this extent.
Yes, I mean, it's never, I remember at Asian Games we beat Pakistan. I used to see these I was in the generation where the Pakistanis were probably a better team than us. I saw, us losing in the Asian Games in '82. We were embarrassed by the Pakistanis. Today, the Pakistanis are not even in the top 10 teams in the world, and there we are. It shows, I think if you invest in sport, and credit to again the Odisha government and Team Hockey India, my friend, as I said, Narendra Batra, he keeps sending me SMSs about how much investments they were putting into the sport. It makes a difference. When you play the Belgians, Germans regularly on tour, that's how you build the confidence that you can beat them. I think that's what's given us the spirit. And COVID times, not easy for sports persons as well to have done it, to have maintained that that belief that we could do it, made a huge difference. So I think investment in key sports, if we can do it in future in about 5 or 6 sports, I am confident in another 10 years we will have at least 10 medals, possibly some of them gold, if not 20 by 2028, 32. Just stay the course. This country has the young boys and girls with the talent. They just need that world stage, and they need the training and coaching. And I think this hockey team had it. Graham Reed deserves a huge amount of credit, a moment of redemption for the Australian coach as well, because he didn't do too well with the Australian team in Rio. He's proved himself with an Indian team. So great. And remember, tomorrow you might be again crying by dear Akshita, because the women's hockey team may also win a medal. Who knows? This is the return of hockey.
I truly, truly hope so, Rajdeep, that tomorrow come this time, you'll be joining us. We'll be talking about the women's hockey team also scripting history by winning a bronze. But you mentioned about how so many of our players, it's just sheer determination, sheer passion that's taken them to this level. And every time we get you a story of one of these players, have a reporter on the field there at the home of one of these players, that's what really stands out. How they fought to all odds to reach that level. It's hard work, it's sacrifice, not just from the players, but also from the family members. And this moment, we need to give that due recognition to the family also of these players who gave their all, who sacrificed everything to ensure these players can make us proud at the Olympic stage. Let's listen into the reactions, the emotional family members, what they had to say about this historic moment.
बहुत ज्यादा खुशी है बहुत
यार थोड़ा पीछे
बहुत खुशी है बहुत जीत गए
ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਮੈਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੇ ਜਿੱਤ ਲਿਆ ਔਰ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦਾ ਔਰ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਰੋਸ਼ਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਇਸ ਟੀਮ ਨੇ
ਇਹ ਗੋਲਡ ਮੈਡਲ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਹੋ
ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ 골ਡ ਮੈਡਲਿਸਟ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਹਾਂ
ਬਹੁਤ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਹੈ ਇੰਨੇ ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਬ੍ਰੌਂਜ਼ ਮੈਡਲ ਜਿੱਤ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਆ ਬਹੁਤ ਟਫ ਮੈਚ ਸੀ ਲਾਸਟ ਸੈਕਿੰਡ ਤੱਕ ਵੀ ਬਟ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਖੇਡੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਹਾਰਡ ਵਰਕ ਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਵੀ ਬ੍ਰੌਂਜ਼ ਮੈਡਲ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਇੰਨੇ ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਤੇ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਹਾਕੀ ਦੇ ਲਈ 골ਡ ਮੈਡਲ ਹੀ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ
Rajdeep, when you hear these family members, and that's exactly what I was saying, we very often in the course of our coverage get our reporters to go to the houses to meet the family members of these players. And okay, before I take this across to Rajdeep, Captain Manpreet's family is speaking to us. Let's cut across live to that.
कैसे आशीर्वाद दिया
मैं उनका गॉड ब्लेस ऑल दी बेस्ट हाँ जित के होना
थोड़ा पंजाबी च बोल दो थोड़ा पंजाबी च हौसला अफजाई कर दो हल्लाशेरी कर दो टीम की
मैं तो कहनी मेरे को टीम हो मैं घुट घुट ढिड ना लावां उन्हां नूं जप्पियां पावां
जयकारा कुछ ला लो
वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह सत श्री अकाल
देखा हम मनप्रीत की माता बेहद खुश हैं इस वक्त इनके चेहरे पे रौनक है जयकारे लगाए जा रहे हैं मिठाई यहाँ पर बांटी जा रही रिश्तेदार आ रहे हैं पड़ोसी आ रहे हैं बधाइयां उनको मिल रही हैं हमें बता रहे थे कि किस तरह से मनप्रीत बचपन में एक दिन कहा करते थे कि एक दिन आप उनको ग्राउंड में नहीं आप टेलीविजन पर भी देखोगे आज वो जो घड़ी थी वो आ गई सबने उसको विटनेस किया किस तरह से भारतीय टीम ने आखिर तक दम से खेला और भारत को ब्रोंज मेडल जिताने में मदद की सब पहले टेंस थे उनके चेहरों पे भाव बदल रहे थे कभी खुशी हो रही थी और कभी उदासी छा रही थी लेकिन अब वो खुश हैं बेटे का आने का अब इंतजार है लौटने के इंतजार में खुशियां मनाई जाएंगी ढोल नगाड़ों से स्वागत होगा
It's so nice to see Manpreet's mother finally smiling because during that 1.5 hour hockey game, Manjeet was there. He was getting us a live broadcast. I could see how nervous she was, how tense she was. And compare that to now, she's finally got a smile on her face. And that's exactly what I was highlighting, Rajdeep, about these stories of the families also, how much they sacrifice to ensure that these players can bring glory for India. This is equally a moment to celebrate these players and their families, the kind of hard work they've put in to ensure this recognition for India.
Absolutely. This is families go through very difficult times in sport in particular. Look, the life of a hockey player in particular is a very short one at the very top. 10 years at best, often even shorter. It's hugely fitness driven today and you can only sort of meet those exacting standards for a few years. So, a family sacrifices a lot to make their son a hockey player today. Incentives are still limited in terms of the fact that when you get a job post your career, it's, the Punjab police, let's give a big salute to Punjab police over the years and the railways. These are two institutions that have always promoted Indian hockey. I remember as a young boy watching the great Balbir Singh play for the Railways. These were the Indian Airlines for years used to promote Indian hockey. The public sector had a huge role to play. Now it's time for the private sector to stand up. This should be part of CSR to help these families, and many of these families come from very, very humble backgrounds. For them, they've sacrificed a lot. Those cheery faces that you are seeing, people cheering, Bole So Nihal, Sat Sri Akal, this is for them vindication of the years they've sacrificed to make their children hockey players. But these are the Jalandhar. I saw a family just now from Jalandhar, the home of Indian hockey. Before that, Sangrur. These are the places in Punjab which have, post-partition were the places etched in hockey players' memories. After that, the sport spread to Bihar, to Jharkhand, to Odisha, to other parts. The sports hostel team of Lucknow, the great Mohammad Shahid and others, they made a huge I've always said this, Akshita, sports is a baton relay. This is what my late father was a test cricketer told me. Sports is a baton relay. Never compare one generation to the other. Just hand over the baton to the next generation and give them the opportunity to go even higher. That's what this team should do. This team should inspire the next generation to take that baton forward and do even better. That's all that really we can hope for. And salute to these families, their sacrifices, and to all the institutions that have provided support. It is a big, big day, this podium finish, because I think it will inspire a generation to play this game of hockey, which I maintain is our national sport. We in the media, maybe some of us have not done enough to promote that sport, but trust me, it is a sport etched in the soil of this country, in our legacy, in those early years when we were an independent country. The gold at London made a huge difference in 48. This bronze in 2021 in Tokyo will also make a huge, huge difference.
What is the difference that you'd really like to see, Rajdeep? Right now we're recognizing, we're celebrating our hockey players. On the long run, how would you like to see this kind of a historic moment really translate to change on the ground, really change how we see the game of hockey in India?
I think, actually, it's important to recognize that every sport requires a lot of media exposure so that the sponsors come in. It requires us to have a structure in place. It can't just be at the very top. Our quality of schools hockey has to also be taken to another level. That's what they did in cricket, under 15, under 17s, under 19s, under 22s, and then India. So you have a structure. Of course, you had the IPL also coming in with the big money. I think hockey cannot only have, as I said, Team Odisha backing it. It has to be now Team India. Make sure that the money comes in through CSR. There are many corporates out there, I'm sure, who are excited by the prospect of endorsing hockey. Groups like Hero, Hero Motorcore and others have done a good job. Others need to back the teams a little bit more. Hockey is not an expensive sport in comparison to, say, golf. So there's a lot of scope available to sort of promote the game, but build AstroTurf grounds and do it bottom up. Every sport, and ensure that there is a targeted approach. I think that's what Britain did. In 1996, Britain won just one gold at Atlanta. By London 2012, they'd won 29. They had this targeted approach. Hockey, can be one of a basket of sports. Remember, there's only one gold or one medal to be won in hockey. Sports like wrestling, you can win dozens of Olympic gold. But I think Olympic sports needs a concerted effort by the state and corporate India to come together and make it a mission. Let's make it, say, Mission 2032. Make it a mission that 10 years from now, these are the sports where we intend to get so many medals, and do it day after day, without sort of having to put without projecting yourself. Project the game, project the players. I hope all these names of the players are etched in our memory. The Manpreets, the Mandeeps, the Rupinder Pals, they should be the ones who we should remember, the Sri Jeshes, and we can go on and on. Let's have the list of the players. I have in my bar at home, I must concede, of all the names of all the players who won the 75 Hockey World Cup, led by the great Ajit Pal Singh, who has a petrol pump about 2 kilometers away from me. And you know, I cried that day. Every time I see Aslam Sher Khan, the former Congress MP, I remind him of that day when he scored those 2 goals that in the semi-finals. So let's make these players into, you know, larger than life figures. We need to tell their stories, tell their life stories. I hope we do it on TV, I hope we do it in print, and I hope then that the players are embraced so that, you know, I can remember all the players of the 75 World Cup team. I hope today's generation will remember all the players of the 2021 team and give them their due. And when I say due, not just cash, which is important, but also in terms of, you know, let's make them national heroes. I hope that this entire team in a way is given a Team of the Year Arjuna Award, if there can be one of that kind, or Team of the Year Khel Ratna. But, you know, give them a sense that they have genuinely achieved big. And that's what will inspire the next generation.
Recognize them, celebrate them. Don't restrict it to a 24-hour celebration.